I don't know if it's my place to share this with you, but I received an email from Dospook. I had never spoken with Dospook before. I subscribed to him just today. I had never watched any of his videos before this one, and I knew about him only through Jeff, who had mentioned him a few times in the past, and most recently. My intention for reading this to you is, well, you probably wouldn't believe me anyway, or at least those of you who think I am of Class A you would just sort of subscribe your thought of my intention to however you anticipate. So I'll just leave that to your conclusions, as they would be cast regardless of what I say. He wrote, "Hey, your last comments to my video were very impacting towards me. It reveals heavily your dichotomous vision, which is so subtly sensitive concerning what is right/true versus what is cruel/true. It is odd that the very desire of the professor to sit in Holland balance is applied for all genre, except the one which affects the very ground from which you sense as my evil nemesis to James Bond. Your drives towards good and religion and the such have me wondering if you yourself will spout beyond your good-bad dichotomous references. The practice of being silent in lieu of being correct or arrogant is a fine test of man as a wholesome being. I see that you retain, at least in your mind, that you are a wholesome being, perhaps a child of God sort. This, of course, should come to course, and perhaps you will maintain this self-consideration. By doing so, I wonder if you find that your ethics and morals, as Professor Anton has said, are on a sliding scale of hypocrisy with one another. Do you kill animals or consume their flesh? Do you squash bugs? Do you anger outwardly? Do you lie to yourself about who you are and where you are going in life, allowing yourself to go in life? In other words, for all your ambient outward expressions, do you lie to yourself when out of the light? Are you plagued with any such ways of being? If not, then ignore my words altogether and stay your course, as it is truly of purity and beauty. If not, then your being will temper itself to deal with itself in this world, whether from the dark to the light, provided you keep the dualism in your back pocket, or from waiting in dark and keeping your head in the light. I must admit that on occasion, when considering dated dualistic considerations, I do find myself spinning in the muck of mind and mankind, driving myself up throughout a dark harshness in order to exist with balance to my own spirit, to my own being. And if that makes me cunning or dark or cunning alongside being evil, then it is what it is. I will allow my arms to burn, to save a people who are dark in the eyes of whatever God your being thinks to perceive them as such. Ever heard of the book Love Cards? Ever fall into and away from astrology? Familiar with the zombie problem in psychology / philosophy, aka conscious in essentialism. It's all too curious other lives. It's all too curious where even subtle judgment comes from. Cheers. Sorry, I almost forgot the last one. It would seem to me that the intention, at least in its simplest form, is to cry out, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." Because it was in my comment to him that I accused him of unveiling this sort of master plan to stump the professor and expose him for being a stubborn and elitist academic that he truly is. And he had an incredibly calculated approach to this. I'll link to the video, see for yourself. Incredibly calculated. And it was then that I accused him of sounding like a James Bond villain, as James Bond hangs over a pool of hungry sharks. And I said, if your intent was to expose this man for his ego, you have done so in favor of your own. And in response to that, I perhaps most poignantly have been posed the following questions. This, of course, should come to course, and perhaps you will maintain this self-consideration, being that considering myself a wholesome being. By doing so, I wonder if you find that your ethics and morals, as Professor Anton had said, are on a sliding scale of hypocrisy with one another. And he asks, more straightforwardly, do you kill animals or consume their flesh? I do. Do you squash bugs? I do. Do you anger outwardly? Rarely, but I do. Do you lie to yourself about who you are? I do. Who you are and where you are going in life, allowing yourself to go in life. Maybe I'm not so sure what you're asking in that. I have hopes for life, or where I go in life. In other words, he says, for all of your ambient outward expressions, do you lie to yourself when out of the light? Yes. Are you plagued with any such ways of being? Yes. If not, then ignore my words altogether and stay your course as it is truly of purity and beauty. If not, then your being will temper itself to deal with itself in this world, whether from the dark to the light, provided you keep your dualism in your back pocket, or from waiting in the dark and keeping your head in the light. I judged you, Dospook, and you have every right to judge me. To answer all those questions, it seemed to have been that I answered yes. Do I think of myself as a wholesome being? Not any more wholesome than you, or anyone else. As for your questions about love cards and astrology, zombie problem in psychology, no to all those. I don't know. I don't know anything about them. suppose I can check them out if that's what you mean to infer. You know, I don't know. I was taken with this email. I wanted to give it voice, because I don't know. I wanted to voice it as a gesture of genuine respect.